Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to focus on writing and graphing inequalities. Yesterday when we were doing your Desmos activity, we focused on interpreting inequalities and how to plot those numbers on the number line. So today we're going to write and graph inequalities. So an inequality compares two numbers. Okay? You've been doing inequalities since you were in like kindergarten or first grade, where you talked about the alligator eating the greater number. As you move up in your understanding of inequalities, we use the symbols greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So you can see that these two symbols are symbols that were introduced probably in 5th or 6th grade, and it combines an inequality and the equal sign, meaning we can use that value or any value less than, or we can use that value and any value that's greater than. So we're going to complete this chart below where we identify a symbol, a name, and then key phrases that you might see when you're talking about that symbol. So the symbol we're going to use first is less than. Phrases that you might see when you're talking about less than is, of course, less than. You may also see fewer than. We have the greater than symbol. And you might see greater than. Or more than. Our next symbol is a hybrid of an inequality and an equal sign, less than or equal to. So less than or equal to. You might see no more than. You might also see at most. Greater than or equal to is another hybrid. Greater than or equal to. You might see no less than. Or you may see the terms at least. So now we're going to practice. Write each word sentence as an inequality. So we're going to convert this word sentence into an inequality statement. So we're going to use a variable to help compare the number. A number k is at most -6. So the key word that we see here is at most. So when we look at our chart, we can go through and find our inequality symbol that associates with our sentence. A number k is at most. So that means the highest the number can be is -6. But it can also be anything that's less than -6. So we use the symbol k is less than or equal to -6. Our next one says the product of 9 and s is at least negative 5/10. So we have the product of 9 and s. So that means that 9 times s is at least, well, that's our greater than or equal to, negative 5/10. So we can have a single number or variable, and then we can also have a product. We can have an expression on one side. So another way we can represent inequalities is to show a picture. The blank of an inequality shows all the solutions of the inequality on the number line. And we call this the graph. So we can actually make a graph that shows the solutions of an inequality. Now, why would we use a graph? And what's the difference between what we were doing with equations and expressions and an inequality? Well, equations, for your purposes as 7th grade math students, only have one solution. An inequality can have millions and trillions and an infinite amount of solutions. Because when we look at this inequality, k is less than or equal to negative 6, that means that we can have negative 6, or we can have any number that is less than negative 6 be a solution to our inequality. So that's where we can use a graph to help represent that value. An open or closed circle represents whether or not a number is included in the solution set. An open circle is used when a number is not a solution. Okay. So when we say an open circle, we literally mean an open circle. We use an open circle when we have the terms less than or greater than. Because when we have less than or greater than, our value is not included in the solution. The values that are less than the solution are included. The values that are greater than the solution are included, but not the actual value. We use the closed circle when the number is a solution. So a closed circle we use with less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So again, open circle when the number is not a solution is going to be less than or greater than. A closed circle is when a number is a solution, and that's going to be greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. To graph an inequality, first plot the number on the number line with an open circle or closed circle. Then shade the numbers that are solutions. So here's some questions that you're going to ask yourself. Number 1, where does your graph start? So at what number is my graph going to start? Is my circle going to be open or closed? Okay, so again, how are we going to determine that? Okay, we're going to look back up here. Less than or greater than, open circle. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, we're going to have a closed circle. And the last question that we're going to ask, which way does our arrow go? Is our arrow going to go to the right, or is it going to go to the left? So let's look at this one. I'll give you some time to write these down. Again, where does your graph start? Am I going to have an open circle or a closed circle at that starting point? And then which way is my arrow going to point? To the left or to the right? So let's look at our first representation. G is less than or equal to -1. So how do I know that's less than? Well, my variable is first, and my symbol says less than or equal to -1. Okay. So that means all the values of G are going to be less than -1. So where does my graph start? Our graph starts at our value. So our graph starts at -1. What kind of circle am I going to have? Open or closed? We'll look back up at your chart. Open circle is less than or greater than. Closed circle is less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. So that means I'm going to have a closed circle at -1. Now, which way is my arrow going to point? To the right or to the left? Well, G is less than or equal to -1. So I need to look at my number line. I'm at -1. Where are the values less than? The values that are less than are going to be to the left. So the graph of my number line shows me that G is less than or equal to -1. So all these values, including -1, are going to be solutions to my inequalities. This next one, f is greater than -4. So again, 3 questions. Where does my graph start? What kind of circle am I going to have at that graph, or at the starting point? And then which way is my arrow going to point? To the left or to the right? Again, your graph starts at your value. So your graph is going to start at -4. Okay. Open circle or closed circle? Well, f is greater than -4. So -4 is not included in the solution set. So I'm going to have an open circle at -4. Is my arrow going to go to the right or to the left? Well, I need to think of my values. My values are going to be greater than -4. So the values to the left, greater, or the values to the right, greater. And hopefully you're answering to the right. So, your assignment for today . You're going to complete the remainder of the problems. Okay, if you're in person, if you're face-to-face, your problems are going to be on the back side of the worksheet. If you are a remote learner, your remaining problems are going to be the next 2 slides. The next thing I want you to do, so complete the remaining problems, that's either on the back side of your worksheet or the remaining slides. The second thing you need to do is fix Desmos slides 11 and 15. Okay, some of you have those slides incorrect, and you need to go back and check those. So I will hopefully, cross my fingers, have given you feedback on those slides and told you if those slides are wrong. But knowing what you know from today, I want you to go back and look at those slides. I hope you have a great day. Be good. Complete your work.